avid reader, and welcome back to my booktube channel. And for today's video, I'm finally doing it. I have seen everyone on booktube doing this tag and nobody tagged me, so I tagged myself. And it's the mid-year book freak out tag. This tag has been around for years already in the blogging community and also here in booktube, where we answer some questions about the books that we have read so far up to the 6th month of the year. So if you're interested to know my answers for these 14 questions, please keep on watching. Before we start the mid-year book freakout tag questions, I just checked on Goodreads to see how many books I have read this year, and so far we're at 72 books until the end of June 2020. And I've based my answers from those 72 books, and I've disregarded the 7 books I have read so far in July. Let's start. The first question, what is the best book you've read so far in 2020? Try asking this question to any bookworm and they won't be able to give you a definite answer because it's really hard to pick among our children which one you love the most. But I'll be giving a few answers, and the first one is You'd Be Mine by Erin Han. And this book is perfect for fans of music-related books. It's about 2 country superstars, one who is a daughter of 2 country music royalties, and another one, Clay, who is a superstar already at his own right, but is having to rebrand or redo his image, his public image, because how he acts in public, and he has also been singing songs that he didn't really like. So it's about them starring together on a tour, and of course it's a love story, but also it shows how fame is, how fame can change you, and how lonely it can be for a superstar like them. And I've always been a sucker for books with music, with bands, singers, because of how much I love music, and I really like the concept of the dark sides of fame and similar themes. So I really love this one. Also, I listened to it as an audiobook on Scribd. Of the books I have read this year were from Scribd, and I think that the subscription that I have been paying is really worth it, because I have access to lots of audiobooks. Even though they limit you, I think I still get to read around 7 to 10 audiobooks in a month, and that's really worth the price considering how expensive audiobooks can be. So if you also would want to try Scribd, I'll be linking with a 2 months free access to Scribd, and I won't be earning anything from that link, except I'll get a free month if you subscribe. So I hope you use that link, but no pressure. I'm just sharing how much I have been enjoying the services of Scribd. But anyway, I also loved a few other books in the year, and one is The Nowhere Girls by Amy Reed. This one is a bit heavy. It tackles rape and how it impacts teenagers in this town. And The Nowhere Girls is their organization that they created to help them exorcise their demons and move on from what they went through, also to finally call out the people who did this to them and fight for their rights, especially in small towns like that, where golden boys are usually treated differently by the people around them, by the authorities, even the police, because of close ties or friendships or connections within the people in the community. So yeah, it's a really heavy book, but I'm very proud of what the characters have done. And it was told in different point of view, so it gives you a glimpse on how sexual assault hits people differently, and what it's a good book in a way that it gives you a glimpse on how you can understand what women, especially young girls, are going through, especially those who also went under the same situations. So it's one of the best books I have read so far in the year, even though this one is a backlist book. The third one that I really like is Kids in Love by Hannah Moskowitz and Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali. Both of them are romances, and both of them tackle teenagers with chronic illnesses. And first, Kids in Love, I love the tagline of this one. It says, "They don't die in this one." And it's true, but it still showed you that some illnesses are not really seen. And just because sickness is not on the outside, it doesn't mean that it's not really there. And it also shows that sometimes teenagers are not taken seriously by doctors and other medical health professionals when they say what they are feeling, and there's so much wrong with that. But this book addresses that, as well as it also has LGBTQ representation, because one of the main characters is bisexual. And then on the other part, we have Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali. It gives, aside from the representation for a serious health concern, it also shows prejudice that the Muslim community receives. In the book, it's one of the main plot points or the highlights of it, the way the main character is fighting the racism and the prejudice and the Islamophobia that she receives from her teachers. If you can imagine how hard it is for a very smart girl in high school who just wants to share the realities of who she is and what she believes in, and that the feelings that you get when you get branded as a terrorist just because of what you wear and what you believe in. So these books that I have loved in 2020 are mostly YA contemporaries that realistically. So this is why I really hate the notion that YA is shallow, because these books really gave me a glimpse on the realities that, you know, young adults are adults already. They have their own minds and they make their own decisions, and thinking that they don't understand is so outdated and so weird, because I don't know. I can talk about this for hours, so maybe it's for another video. But those are the best books that I have read in 2020. Oops, wait. There's another one. I'm sorry. It ended up with me talking about this for 10 minutes for the first question already. But the last one is Wicked As You Wish by Rin Chupeco. And I never imagined that I'll get to read a book that represents me as a Filipino in fantasy. And this book by Rin Chupeco talks about Filipino mythology and then mixed it in a world with fairy tales, with technology, with magic, and it's a very beautiful read. Hi, Manji. We have Manji here, but Rin really did a good job, and they captured so much of the Filipino culture that I didn't expect that I'll get to read. So I know there are copies right now in the Philippines being available, and I can't wait to visit a bookstore and get my hands on one, even though I already have a copy or on my Kindle. So those are the best books so far. And the next question, I finally reached question number 2, and that's sequel you have read so far in 2020. I actually don't really read series as much as I did when I was younger. I lean towards standalones. I don't really have much to compare with. But the best sequel I have read is a romance class book, and it's Songs You Call Back To by J.E. Tria, and it's part of the playlist series, which features a different story for each of the band members of Train Man. And like what I said earlier, I really love reading books that revolve around music. So this one is I actually have been reading the entire series this whole year, and I'll be sharing with you my thoughts on the playlist series in another video. So I won't shed too much light on this one, but I love this book by J.E. Tria, and I'm really thankful for the author for always reaching out to me so I can grab advanced copies of this book. So thank you. Question number 3, and it's new releases you haven't read yet but want to. Okay, first off, I'm excited to read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, and it's the story of who we know as President Snow from The Hunger Games. And I'm sure here in BookTube, everybody's been talking about it and most people have read it already. I have been staying away from the videos. As much as I love these people, these creators, I've been staying away from their videos because I don't want to get an idea on what it's about. But it's one of the books that I can't wait to get my hands on. I bought a copy on Kindle on the day it was released, and I was supposed to read it at that time, but I don't know. I'm a mood reader. I can't convince myself yet to grab it yet. I think I'm scared because of the mixed reviews that I've been seeing based on stars alone on Goodreads. So I haven't been reading reviews. Also, I don't know what the book is about. I only know it's about President Snow, one of the most evil characters in that I have read. So I'm scared. I'm scared to know his villain origin story, and I'm not sure if I want to, have a connection and sympathize with him. I don't know yet, but I'm very excited to read it. The second release that I'm excited about is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I have read With the Fire on High last year through audiobook, also on Scribd, and I loved the way she writes. Raving about With the Fire on High. It's my #1 favorite contemporary read in the recent years, and I have reviewed it. I'll be linking it here or here. Aside from the beautiful cover of Clap When You Land, I think she has just become an auto-buy author for me, and I know I still have to read The Poet X, but I also would like to get my hands on Clap When You Land when I finally lift the book buying ban I have recently imposed on myself. And the next 2 reads is Beach Read by Emily Henry and Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Both of these books I only want to get my hands on because of the beautiful covers. I don't know much about them yet, except one is a rom-com, I think, and one is a gothic horror story. And I always buy books based on the covers, and those books have very beautiful ones. And also, they have been around my Goodreads feed, also on my Bookstagram and on Twitter. Everybody's been raving about these books, and I can't wait to read them eventually. Though, again, I'm still buried under my TBR mountain. I still have lots of backlist books to read, and I don't know how to fit all of them in my schedule as I still have to work. For #4, most anticipated releases for the second part of the year. I have 3. One is You Had Me at Hala, again because of the cover. Also, White Coat Diaries, again because of the cover. And also, it's because it's a medical related book. And then number 3 is Rent a Boyfriend by Gloria Chow. Again because of the cover. Also because I loved American Panda. So I really hope I'll get my hands on these books. But, you know, I'm not really in a rush. I'm not the kind of reader who would fall in line at a bookstore just to, or, you know, set an alarm just to get my copies of new releases. I take my time. But, of course, I would really love to get my hands on this, especially since it's really visible how much books have improved now, how they are more sensitive and aware of the themes that they have been discussing. So I'm excited to read. I know I've mentioned 3 books, but I have an ongoing series in my blog where I post about books that I'm really excited about, and I think I'm on the 5th part of this blog series. And if you want to learn more about the books that I am excited about, as long as it's published in the year 2020, I'll be linking it in the cards up here or up here. The 5th question, what is the biggest disappointment in my first half of the year? And that is Something in Between by Melissa de la Cruz. On the first few chapters of this book, I remembered screaming about it to my sister how much I hated this book. And I haven't reviewed it until now. I still have my notes with me. And it's a Filipino diaspora read about an immigrant Filipino family who are undocumented. The lead character is qualified for a national scholarship in the US, and since she is undocumented, she might not qualify for it anymore, and their family might have to be sent back here in the Philippines. And I have no qualms with the topic. I know immigrants are very important in America's history. As a Filipino, every family has a relative living there, working there, and migrated there, has become an American citizen, and I have no problems with that. The way this book disappointed me is on how Filipino culture was represented. And I'm not sure if it's because the author, though she is Filipino, has forgotten the connection she has with the country, because most of her descriptions of the Filipino culture are very outdated, like 30 to 50 years outdated. Though she left the country when she was 13 years old, it's like she has different glasses on when she sees the country. I know the Philippines is not the best in terms of, you know, politics, government, economy, but we have a really nice culture, and nice is not really the word to explain it. And in spite of all that's happening here in the country right now, I still love my country. I still love the Philippines, and I know our culture has good parts and bad parts, and unfortunately, it wasn't represented well in the book. Even if the bad parts will be represented, there's no problem with me. At least that's real. But what's represented on the book is like prejudice in what a Filipino is and what reality is like here. And I don't know, I can rant again about this book on how much this disappointed me, because I know this author is very famous in other genres. In other subgenres of YA. And I have many friends that rave about her other books, like the Alex and Eliza series or the Witches of East End series, and all those other books that she has written, because she has written a lot. Unfortunately, I had so much hopes on the book, and I didn't get it. I don't know if it's because I'm not a Filipino diaspora person. I have not lived anywhere else. I have been raised here in the country. And maybe Filipinos in America will relate more to the character. I don't know. But Again, it's my opinion, and this book was a 1-star for me because I was expecting so much, because the voice of the Filipino is really not that heard yet in the in the publishing world. There's very little books that we have that features our culture, which is very rich, and considering Filipinos are scattered all over the globe. So again, it was a disappointment for me, but I'm not closing my doors to the other works of the author. Maybe she writes better as an American, because that's what she identifies as after all. So, okay, next question. The biggest surprise. The biggest surprise for me are 2 books. No, the first one I listened to on audio script, and the second one I have read as an ARC from NetGalley. And the first one is It's Not Me, It's You by Stephanie Kate Strom. Not sure if I pronounced that right. And the second one is The Two LILA Bennetts by Liz Fenton and Lisa Steinke. Sorry again for the pronunciation. But they were the biggest surprise for me because I wasn't expecting anything at all when I grabbed the copies of these books. It's Not Me, It's You is a full cast audio. I wasn't expecting that, and it's an oral history of the dating life of the main character. They interviewed all of her boyfriends, and she has been dating since she was very young. There's also interviews of all her friends, her classmates, her teachers, her family, and all that. And all of that are represented in a full cast. So it's like I'm listening to a radio show or a TV show. And also, since it is in a oral history format, she squeezes in the main character squeezes in her thoughts on what people are saying about her, and that made the journey of reading the book so worth it. And it's very funny. It made me laugh, it made me smile, and I really think the ending is cute. Though I was expecting it, even at the onset of the book, it's still really cute, and it's a nice book to read if you want to smile or you're looking for something that's very light and fluffy. The next one is The Two LILA Bennetts, and The Two LILA Bennetts is a mystery thriller, and I know there's movie and other books that you can compare to this one, wherein there's a parallel universe, and for this character who is a lawyer, there's one path wherein she gets abducted and kidnapped, and then there's another path wherein she gets away with it, with whatever she did. So I like the back and forth on the two futures or two paths of which her life would have taken. So and both of them had their own pros and cons. Also, they kind of connect with each other. I don't know, I can't explain it that well, but it's a good read, and it was surprising for me because I enjoyed it a lot, and I breezed through the arc. I can't believe that I didn't read it as soon as I got the arc because it was amazing. I loved it so much. Number 7, it's about your favorite new author, and I have 3 here. First is Erin Han, and I talked about her book earlier, You'd Be Mine. And number 2 is J.E. Tria, and she's the author of the Playlist series, which I talked about earlier. And the last one is Leah Johnson, and she wrote You Should See Me in a Crown, and it's also one of my new favorite books because of how light and fluffy it is. Her writing style is perfect for my liking, and I'm excited to read more of her work. Next is number 8, newest fictional crush. I don't know why, but I tend to only form fictional crushes when I'm reading a series, when I build a relationship with the character for quite a long time, and I haven't been reading series So I don't have a fictional crush at the moment, or a new one at the moment. And I'm planning to start on a few fantasy series, and I think that's when I'll get my crush. But for now, the person that comes to mind is Jefferson Clay Coolidge from You'd Be Mine, because of course he's a country rock star, and he's based on the story. He has a nice voice, he sings, he writes, he has this bad reputation, bad boy image, and I don't know, for now he's my fictional crush. On the other hand, we have your number 9, your newest favorite character. And my newest favorite character, I think, would be Liz Lightly from You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. And I just loved the premise of the book, which is an overachieving student who would fight to get prom queen when she is usually not the person you would expect to run for prom queen. So all in all, that book was very fun to read and in her headspace throughout the book, and she's one of my newest favorite characters. Also, I love Tala from Wicked As You Wish. I think I loved most of the characters of the book, especially Tala and her family, and their dynamic. Their banter is fun to read, and even the Firebird in Wicked As You Wish was a really quirky character, and I don't know, I really love them, and I'm planning to reread it soon, or maybe once the next installment of the book comes out. Number 10, books that made you cry. I easily get teary. The first book that came to mind is The Nowhere Girls, and I talked about it earlier, and I don't know, the girls in the story have been through so much, so it's a really heavy read, and that made me cry. And usually the other books that made me cry are the fan fictions that I read. And if you want to make me cry by reading, you should make me read a fanfic. Fan fiction, I can talk about it for hours, and the best heart-wrenching books that I have ever read are fan fiction in Archive of Our Own. Number 11 is books that made you happy. And going back to the books I mentioned earlier, it's You Should See Me in a Crown and It's Not You, It's Me. And aside from that, a book that made me happy also is Henna's Voice by Amina Khan. And it's a middle grade book, and it's a really cute one. I never really read books for that age, but for some reason that day I chose to pick that up, and I really loved the story, all in all. Number 12, the most beautiful book you have bought or received this year. Earlier this year, we started with COVID-19, so I haven't really been buying books during quarantine. But if I'm not mistaken, I have received this earlier in the year, and it's Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. And I haven't read this one yet, but it's very beautiful. The cover is very beautiful. And I got it from Mermaid Crate, which is a subscription box in the Philippines. And yeah, even though I have not read this one yet, and I have seen so-so or negative reviews about the book, you can't deny that the cover is really pretty. 13, we're almost done. I've been talking for 30 minutes. Okay. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? The books that I'll be mentioning are books that have been published years back, not really in 2020. The first is a series, and it's this one, the Infernal Devices series, and fan of the Shadowhunter universe by Cassandra Clare. And I have read The Mortal Instruments, but I didn't finish the series. I've also loved watching Shadowhunters in Netflix. So I'm planning to reread The Mortal Instruments this one, the Infernal Devices series, because most of my friends have been telling me that the Infernal Devices is way better than The Mortal Instruments. So I've also been seeing this love triangle that I have no idea about all over Instagram, all over Twitter, all over the community, and I don't know. I want to know what you guys know. So I'll be reading the series before this year ends. Aside from that, I also would love to read Serpent and Dove. I know it's in my July TBR, and I haven't touched it yet. And Munchie will hate me because she chose it and I haven't touched it yet. But hopefully after the reading rush, I'll finally get to read Serpent and Dove. Right, Munchie? Okay, aside from that, I also would love to read The Never Tilting World by Rin Chupeco. And I have had the copy since last year. Also, I would love to read The Patron Saints of Nothing, which I hope would be a better Filipino representation compared to the book that I mentioned earlier. And I plan to read it in August in time for Wikathon that I mentioned to you guys in my previous vlogs. If you want to learn more about Wikathon, I'll be sharing with you the links down below. Last question, and it's your favorite book community member. Okay. I'll try to divide based on the community. On Instagram, I really love the Hogsmeade Reader. I'll link her Instagram down below. She has the most beautiful posts and I really love her unboxing videos. She gives so much efforts on her Instagram and it's very, very, very beautiful. So if you're looking into finding great bookstagrams, I really recommend the Hogsmeade Reader. Now for BookTube, I'm choosing Gerald the Bookworm and Tess from Bring Me the Books. I love Tess. I love how she talks about her thoughts, how she shares her books, and also I love her video concept. I think she's very underrated and she deserves so much more subscribers because I really have fun whenever I watch her videos. And the second one is Gerald the Bookworm, which I think is very well known already here in the bookish community, especially in the Filipino bookish community, because he's so funny. I love his videos. He's very energetic and he's very passionate when he shares about his reads. And I don't know, I really enjoy watching his videos. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of his content. The third booktuber that I love is Kate from Yatita Kate, and I have been following her blog way before I discovered that she has BookTube, and I really love the way she writes her reviews. She's very eloquent, and I also love watching her videos now. It's a part of my routine whenever I see her upload a new one. I think we are in a similar age, that's why I relate to her so much. I wish I had the same skills in stringing my words together because I'm a mess here. As you can see, I always say I don't know. So I really admire Kate. See, I said and also her passion project, Wikathon, that I mentioned earlier, is a really great way to champion Filipino authors and make Filipino bookish creators come together in a community. So far, I'm a part of the Discord server for Wikathon, and it's nice to share recommendations within the Filipino bookish community wherever they are in the world. So I'm very thankful for Kate from Yatita Kate for doing that project. And lastly, my favorite bookish community member is Shalea from Shut Up Shalea and Caffeine Book Tours. I don't know. When I was first starting in the bookish community, I mean the moment that I opened a WordPress account and migrated my blog to that platform, I discovered Shalea's blog and it was amazing. I'm sorry that you guys won't get to see it now, as Shalea has temporarily shut down that blog. And we don't know if she'll be back. I keep messaging her. I keep tweeting her and commenting on her Instagram and replying on her stories that I really miss having her blog around. It has been my inspiration in writing. Though I know I'll never be even as half as good as her, that's how good she is in writing reviews and talking about important issues here in the bookish community. I don't know, I really love Shalea's works. I'm very passionate about shouting about her skills. I've even been forcing her to create a booktube even though she says no every time. And I know, I just love Shalea and her works. And if you want to learn more about her, she's on Twitter. And also everyone that I have mentioned, I'll be linking their socials down below so you can check them out. But for Shalea, you can support her project, and she owns Caffeine Book Tours, which I have been partnering with since I was a nobody with 0 followers here in the community. She was one of the first people who trusted me on a book tour. And Caffeine Book Tours is one that champions diverse reads, though I think it has just recently been back because she was a little busy when she was doing her thesis. Now Caffeine Book Tours has many blog tours ahead, so you should follow them on their socials and visit their new blog to learn more about Caffeine Book Tours and of course Shalea. And also, if you can, if you know her, please let's disturb her and let's tell her to bring back her blog, because I really miss having someone that smart, that intelligent, and that precise in sharing her thoughts. And also, she makes mean spreadsheets. She's the best. And I know I've been talking about her so long, but I really like her. And I know the bookish community is very lucky that we still have her with us here and hosting book tours for us. Okay, so that's it. After almost an hour, I finally finished talking about the mid-year book freakout tag. So again, these are my thoughts on the 72 books that I have read from January to June. And I'm hoping that you guys stayed. Who knows if somebody will stay until the end of this video. But if you didn't, thank you so much. You're amazing. If you are, maybe comment a doggy emoji so I'll know. And I hope you guys will subscribe to the channel and click the bell button beside it so that you'll get notified whenever I upload a new video. And I hope that you guys enjoyed me rambling on for hours about the books that I love. And thank you so much again, and see you on the next one. Bye!